Okay, so basically there's a test tomorrow on the Scarlet Letter for Mr. Stefano's class, and I just wanted to review some things for the other students for them. So basically we know the format, and it's going to be the characters Hester, Dimsdale, Chillingworth, Pearl, Bellingham, Winthrop, Hibbins. They're going to be character matching, and that's just going to be part one. I think that's pretty straightforward. We all know who Hester is. We all know who Dimsdale is. We all know who Chillingworth is. We all know who Pearl is. And Bellingham, he's just the governor. And then John Winthrop is the main founding guy. And Hibbins is just Miss Hibbins. Um, we discussed her during class. And then the multiple choice comes, and I don't think it will be as specific as her quizzes have been. Hopefully not. But you just need to know the setting, 1600s, it's during Puritan times in Boston, and the mood of the time, the psychology of how Puritans think, and they're very like self-loathing. They don't think of themselves highly. It's more of like a theocratic government where everyone is just depressed and gloomy, especially as Nathaniel Hawthorne displays throughout this novel, making it more of a satire than ever because of his hyperboles and exaggerations. But more so, he has two sides to almost every symbol because of his transcendentalist beliefs of the time period that he lived in. Now, the setting for the book is in the 1600s in Boston. And but the main ideas to focus on are transcendentalism and the difference between transcendentalism and Puritanism. Transcendentalism was more with nature, more self-reliance, civil disobedience, everything from the writers of Thoreau and Emerson. They were more about going back to nature, this need that sprung up due to the Industrial Revolution and westward expansion that were cutting through people's land. So basically, they decided to experiment with it. And they're actually the forerunners of the people who throughout history have done civil disobedience and such. And transcendentalists, basically, their main, the main contradiction factor with them and Puritanism is that Puritanism is more like they don't like the wilderness. They see it as where the devil is. But they're more of like self-loathing again because they don't their systematic way of this thinking, this psychology is very conformist, number one, and attached to their religion. It's more like predestination, like what will like I'm already gonna be in hell, but what can I do? I can try to save myself, and my works of salvation and whatnot, my reading and whatever I can do. But even then, I'm still going to be depressed because I'm going to hell anyway. So basically, there's the contradictions between transcendentalism and Puritanism. And then the quotes, Mr. Stefano could give you guys any quotes, and with that, you would have to interpret what like you think it means. The best way is to just understand how like Hawthorne, what his writing style is, and break it down. And then the symbolism, we all know the prison door, we all know the scaffold, we all know the rose bush, we know the wilderness, we know the letter A, dynamic symbol, and we all know most of the literary devices that Hawthorne tends to use. He uses a lot of extended metaphors and hyperboles, but the part 3 is the true and false section. And with the true and false, I just think it will be straightforward. So the only things to really discuss is an overview of the book itself. And you probably have no need to commit yourself to the entire study guide and study that. That will just help you with multiple choice maybe, as it was supposed to with the quizzes. But when Mr. Stefano will give you a quote or so, it's probably not going to be like an expecting quote. So from this, we'll have to break down the quote itself and understand the true meaning beyond. You have to put yourself in the shoes of Hawthorne and the shoes of Puritanism and Transcendentalism. You have to have these three things because Hawthorne writes in a certain style, and this style is very difficult to read for people who aren't used to classics. So beyond that, it's just the nature of, do you know what Puritanism is or not, and the psychology of it. Dimmesdale is one of the best characters that displays Puritanism because of his self-loathing nature, and it's just always it's very gloomy and self-loathing. They wear black. These people aren't like your happy nature people. The happy nature people are more like the transcendentalists who would like go back and think about the Puritan society, because most of them would live in like Boston or these areas that Puritanism was founded upon and well was transferred to. So all these concepts and the reason that transcendentalism is just so different from Puritanism is just because Puritanism is like the main opposite of transcendentalism. They made it like this because just because of westward expansion, because they just looked back on what they had accomplished. It's not like everyone sits there like presently and doesn't care. They're they look back on works, previous anything historical about the nature of where they are at that point. And that's mainly what Nathaniel Hawthorne did as well. And otherwise, just know vocabulary as well, because Mr. Stefano may expect you to know that. And it's a very straightforward test. But if you have any real questions, don't be afraid to ask.